I'm Yvonne from Pree Designs. Thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. Today I'm just going to show you how I've put together this little box. I'm not sure the original designer, creator, I'm not sure what it's called. I've seen it just called a fancy box, fancy fold box, but I've just called it a fancy corner box. It's got this little faceted, but not quite faceted, little edge to the one corner of the box. So I've actually seen it as a much smaller design, and I've made it big enough to hold 4 or 5 of the lint ball chocolates, probably because they're my favorite chocolates. So to pop your chocolates in, it opens at the bottom to pop your chockies in, and then you probably fit 5 in there, and then seal it up, and then it's tied to hold the bottom down with the ribbon, which I've just slid on and off. That's why you need the ribbon around it. I do have PDF instructions available with all the measurements and photographs. I do sell them for $10 a copy, but as I said, that gives you all the measurements and photographs and step-by-step guide. So I'm going to start off with a piece of cardstock which is 25 by 19 centimetres, and I'm just going to score it in even spaces across the landscape orientation. Should have opened that arm of the trimmer first. And then turning a portrait to score it again in even spaces to give me some nice squares. And I've re-engineered or redesigned how to put this together to make it much easier than the one I saw online. But it's just a really fun, I forgot my bone scorer, a really fun box to make. Whether you're making it for Christmas treats, you could put it as a table decoration, and instead of having the greeting here, you could have that as a name place card for your Christmas table. Nice little gifts for co-workers. There's lots and lots of things that you can do. Now this colour that I'm using is Old Olive. Okay, so that's the box so far. Now I want to work in this bottom four panels, and I just need to make some little measurements because I do have to hand score the corner so that I can get my little corner piece that is the fancy corner. So I'm just marking in even spaces on all 4 panels of this particular panel. Oops, yep, that's right. Okay, now I've got to bring in a manual scorer. You could do this on your paper trimmer. That one does not look right. That one is definitely not right. You could do this on your paper trimmer, but it's a little bit easier to do it by hand. So just with a metal ruler, and you'll take your pick tool with the scoring tool on the end. And it's really important to get these edges nice and straight, but also so that the point matches perfectly. So that's why I've put little pencil marks on there. And then the final set. Okay, so that is my little triangle, and that's going to be diamond shape, and that's going to be the fancy corner of the box. Okay, now I've got to bring my trimmer back in, and I've got to cut off the panels that I don't actually need. Just got to make sure that you can see that. Oops. So now, but I do need to leave a little piece so that I've actually got a nice little tab for when I'm putting my box together. Just get rid of my scoring tool there. And take it across, and then get ready for my other side. just have to stand up so that I can see where I'm cutting to and cutting from. Okay, so that's my main cuts. Now I can get rid of the pieces that I don't need. And I'm just going to use the paper snips just because it's easier to hand snip these little panels. And I like to take little wedges out of my tabs because then that makes the box sit nicely when we're putting it all together. I don't need that edge, so get rid of that altogether. And I haven't quite cut that nice and straight, so I'm just going to go back in there and cut that better along the score line. So that's one part of my box. Flipping it around, and now I've got to do the other side. So this is actually the, well, ends up being the base of the box. I need to make sure that I've got a lid closure, which is that section there. Again, cutting little tabs, and then I don't need either of these two panels, and that gets rid of that bit there. Okay, get rid of all my excess on the work surface, and then fold and burnish my little tabs in as well, just so that it all folds neatly and goes together neatly. Burnishing your score lines makes it much easier when you're putting it together, so it's nice and square. The only thing I haven't done is snipped my little tabs at the end here. So now I'm going to use my tear and tape. I'm just going to put that in place on all the little panels where I need my tear and tape. So these are what holds the card closed. And in fact, I'm just going to add a little bit more tear and tape to this panel here, just so that it seals a little bit more easily, and just get rid of that excess. All right, so now I need to decorate the box. So I'm going to decorate the box with a piece of the paper from the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper set, and I've used some real red because that's the colour in the paper as my base mats. So I've done 3 of those, and then to make the mats for this, the corner or the fancy corner, I've already pre-cut them, but the way I did that was just put my cardstock down in place so that I had a nice even mat all the way around. Then just using a ruler and a pencil, I brought my ruler back a little bit from the pencil line, drew a pencil mark, and then I've just cut it off. So I've actually got, I'll just bring it up, I've actually got a nice little mat because that's where the score line is, and then that's my first mat. And then I did the same technique to get my matting for my DSP, and again I've already cut it, but to show you how I did that, put my DSP over the cut shape, pop my ruler down a little bit away from the red edge. I can see the red edge on that way on each of those corners, pencil marked, and then I went away and I paper snipped it or cut it with your trimmer. Then I'm just going to mat that one, and then I'm going to put all of these, didn't need to put the lid on, then I'm going to put all of these into place. If you have a directional DSP, you will need to be aware of which way the mats go on the corner, because it is directional and you've got to think about the way that the box actually goes together. Oops, and I've just realized before I put that on, I'm just going to manipulate and fold all of my score lines. So just without bending this side, you just need to very carefully with your fingers go through and manipulate those score lines. So the outside is a mountains fold, the inside is a valley fold. So you can just see there I'm using my fingernail to go in and manipulate the score. And then I know, and now that's a bit tricky, I've already put that paper down, I know there is one in here, So I need to manipulate that as well. In that case, I'm actually going to take that sticky off because I do need to see that. I can put that back on. And that's probably why in my instructions I haven't put adhesive on there. So that is a mountain at the end, just that little tiny bit there that's on the tab, and then a valley in there. Because you want all of your corners to be nice and neat and nice and firm. So you can just see in there, it's really a nice, neat, firm fold. Okay, and again, I'm just manipulating it with my fingers, and I have also rubbed out all my pencil lines. Okay, so you can see that's just ever so slightly popping up. Now I'll put the mat down that I've already put the glue on, and glue each of my mats in place. I like to use Tombow liquid glue or multi-purpose liquid glue because it gives you a few moments to pop your mat or your card piece in place, and then you've got wriggle room time. So you can just adjust it if needed. And then the first bit that I actually want to put together is going to be this piece. So probably should leave it for a few more minutes to dry, but I just want to start manipulating and getting those folds correct. It's not quite dry, so I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so I've just left the mats to adhere properly. So working with your very corner piece, I've, as you saw, already manipulated my folds so that they all sit nicely. Just going to poke my paper piercer in on that one so that it sits more evenly. Now I'm just going to pop back in here, and that piece of tape that I took off, I'm just going to put a new piece in there now that I've seen where I needed to have those folds. Then I'm taking the papers off. I should have got my paper piercing tool, take your pick, out to help me with that. Now, so that this doesn't immediately stick to the wrong place, I'm just putting a little bit of the liquid glue over the top of the tear and tape, and that will enable me, as I'm closing up the corner, it will enable me, I'm just going to turn it around now so that I can see, hopefully you can see that. It will enable me to actually have a little bit more play with the paper, because if it just had the tear and tape, as soon as the two pieces of paper stuck together or went together, it would stick. So having that little bit of Tombow glue over the top of the tear and tape just gives you a little bit more time to play. So happy with that. That's all nicely matched. Just making sure that you can see that in the corner. So I'm just holding it together for a few moments until all of that glues together. If you have trouble with that bit, you don't have to have the tape over the whole piece. You can just have the tape in the corner and then poke a little bit of glue with a toothpick in that seam afterwards. All right, I'm quite happy with all of that now. And now it's time to take the papers off all of my other tabs to finish off my little box. Turning it around again. Hopefully you're not getting seasick with me turning this around so many times. Close up that side of the box. I'm just matching the edges. It's not quite perfect, but bear in mind it is a handmade and a hand-cut, hand-engineered box. It's not playing quite nicely, but again, if you have trouble with getting it all put together nicely, just put a little bit of the liquid glue over the tear and tape, and that will give you a little bit more time to play and put it into place. Now I'm just going to go on the inside now and just use my bone folder or bone scorer just to push all of those edges together and burnish the cardstock down. that will just make sure that all of my folds are nice and even. And you can see in here, I'm just running my bone scorer in there just to finish off. Okay, so that is my box done. So then I've gone ahead and I have used one of the tailored tag dies with a little circle and stamped the greeting, put a little bit of linen thread around that. Now I would put some chocolates in here or whatever you're going to put in here, but you do need to make sure, depending on which side you put it down, you could have the flap or the opening at the back, at the bottom, at the side. Just depends on really what you like the look of here. I'm going to probably put mine like that, which that means so then that the join is actually hidden away, and then my opening is going to be at the back, at the side, well, one of the side panels. So then I'm simply using a piece of our silver ribbon from the silver and gold pack, and just going to tie that around quite tightly into a bow. I can fiddle with that, get that just so a bit later. And then my tag, just bring that into the middle of the frame. My tag is just going to be attached, if I can get that underneath there, with a little bit of linen thread tied off. And there I have a very cute box to put some chocolates, treats, whatever you wish, and slightly different colour tone, but great little box. I'm actually going to do one of these as a gift and put money in it for a birthday present, because I just think it's a little cute little way of giving money, something a little bit different, but obviously it won't be a Christmas one. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Have a great day.